Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. How's it hanging? Captain Shandy here. I hope everybody is doing well and staying safe. Thank you very much for clicking on this video and visiting my channel today. I do appreciate it. We're here at Silverstone, very famous circuit, the old aircraft base from World War II, I believe, if my history is correct. We're qualifying here today online on F1 2020, as you can probably glean by the title and by this screen. A little bit of poetry there for you. So we're going to go into qualifying and see how we get on. Now, as you can see, there's only 5 people in the lobby at this moment in time, which isn't fantastic, but hey ho. If you have been following any of my online races, then you'll notice that I have a new livery. This is more akin to the brand colours that I tend to use for my main channel. Talking of which, please head across there, Captain Shandy, if you want to hear my opinions on the current affairs, political world, celebrities, you name it. I'm going to talk about it. I either already have or I soon will. Go ahead, click subscribe, get notified. The videos come out roughly once a week, maybe a couple a week if they're shorter, as we go very wide there and ruin this lap, essentially. It's not going to be a quick qualifying time. I've sort of given up on it. But when there's only going to be sort of, 5 or 6 you on the grid, there's no great shakes. So it is what it is. Nice to have a little bit of a reminder to go around Silverstone. Haven't been around it in some time. I invalidated the lap there, as you can see anyway, so I completely just screwed it up. So I bailed out, because that's what we do. We rage quit. But no point in carrying on, just a waste of time. So that'll have us at the back of the grid today on this race, unless anybody joins the lobby a little bit later. And of course then they will start off behind me as we see the few cars going across the line. A few disqualifications, not the only one. And Venemy, V-Enemy, not sure what he'd prefer to be called, has got himself into first place. He's a German, what a surprise. They're good at this, the Germans. But yeah, as I was saying, please head across to my other channel. Please click like and subscribe on this channel and this video, more to the point, if you do enjoy it. I should probably give you an opportunity to actually watch a bit more of the video before you make that important decision in your life. But we're going to go into the race here at Silverstone. New livery. Not the only surprise that I have for you. Stay tuned to find out. And hopefully we can get some sort of decent result, because my performances of late have been pretty shocking, both in terms of remaining safe. Oh, and look at that. It is wetter than your mum when she visits George Gill's house. There's one for his list. If you don't get that reference, head over to whatculturegaming.com or their YouTube channel, more to the point. I'll leave a description, link in the description, I should say. And yeah, watch a few of Jules' videos and maybe you'll understand the reference. But nevertheless, it's fucking soaking wet. We're in England, so that makes sense. And we're going to 5 red lights. We currently have 4, now we have 5. We're at full revs. The lights will go out. We are off. The spray kicks up. It's wet. It is blinding. There is spray everywhere. We get a decent start. We do have a man on the inside of us, so we just go a little bit wide and leave that car the room. And we are again being approached from behind. Giggity. And we almost lose the car, but we do just about keep hold of it. It is like an ice rink out there, having to be so careful on the throttle. Really feathering it and caressing it, because as soon as you put any power down, the car just wants to go for a walk, and we end up cutting that corner because we don't quite judge the turning in point correctly. So here we are, still behind Daya Devran. I hope I've pronounced that right. If I haven't, don't worry, Daya. There's not too many people watching my videos at the moment, so I haven't embarrassed you in front of the nation. So, it is what it is. We turn in a little bit early, cut the corner. Don't get all a track exceeded limit warning, or a corner cut warning, which was a bit odd. I fully expected one there, but as we come through this sector, we are closing back up on the pack after falling a little way behind, and looking like maybe we do have the pace to stay with these guys and maybe put up a bit of a race. And we come out of overtake mode, back down. Are we going to look at the inside? No, we just bail out of that. We weren't quite close enough. Didn't quite have the nose in, so just staying behind for now and being sensible. I've decided I'm not really too asked about this driver rating, safety rating, because it just seems impossible really to work your way back up. Even when I did, it soon just went back down. And to be honest, even in these lobbies you get the odd lunatic, but most people are fairly respectful. And as we say that, there's been a big accident in front of us and the two cars have spun each side of the track. We can just part them like the seas, which is pretty much what we're fucking driving on at the moment, is a sea or a river. And the two cars in front go side by side. Magnell and Dyer still there. We just back out. We're going to watch this from behind. Get the popcorn out, kids, because we're not getting involved. We're just going to sit back. It's going to be like a Michael Jackson meme, but without the nonsense. So they fall back into line, and it's all quite tight. There's not much more than a second between the top three here. We set the fastest first sector, as Jeff reminds us that we need to start using some more energy and get the overtake button being used. We go a little bit wide there, pick up a warning for exceeding the track limits, get the turn in right here, go down into 6th gear. They've gone side by side in front of me again, and it's all getting a little bit boisterous there in front of me. I don't think there's any love lost between these two at the moment. And this time Magnell filters back in front, and as we come up the long back straight, we hit a green middle sector, so we're still quick, and we are now right on the back of Dyer, and we come to the inside with Rich Mix, with overtaken. To be honest, it's not really too much of a problem as we pick up second place, and now we're on the hunt for the man in front of us, Magnell, 97, if that's the year that he's born. I'm a little bit jealous, but we've got a purple and green first and second sector. Can we set another purple to maybe get the fastest lap of the race? We do. Magnell gets the fastest lap of the race, but we then beat him straight away. Within a half a second or so, we've picked up the fastest lap, and not too long after that, we can see that Fees JPA has picked up the fastest lap. So, seems like everyone's got some decent pace. The top four still pretty close together, and 5th place rapidly catching us, setting fastest laps and fastest sectors. So, what is next on the agenda on this wet day here in Silverstone? We get the turn in, and we can see a little wobble there from Magnell, and he's just struggling to keep that car under control, and we almost follow his line, just going very easy on the throttle again, and he gets a little bit too eager on it and has a wobble, and we can just nip up the inside, overtake button on, and we squeeze through. There we go, first place. We have managed to get through the fairly small pack and get ourselves up into first place in our home Grand Prix. Not really a Grand Prix, it's only 5 laps long, but it is in England, and that is where I'm from and where I live, so we'll call it the home Grand Prix. And we've actually built up a 1.5 lead over Dyer and V Enemy, and Magnell's fallen even down into 4th. So a few changes going on behind and just across the race in general. As you can see, Fees, who was catching the pack the whole time, has now got up into 4th place. Could he be a threat? Because he's quick. He clearly is quick. He's setting fastest times. He's making his way through, and potentially could cause us some problems. As Jeff says there, though, we are increasing the gap to the car behind, which is nice. We're now just over 2 seconds ahead of V Enemy. Again, that's changed as he's gone past Dyer, Devran, and Fees JPA is on the back of him. So interesting to see what transpires there. I wonder if anybody's got the pace to catch me. V Enemy has brought that 2 second gap down to just under 2 seconds and seems to be continuously reeling me in bit by bit, and there's only a lap and a half to go, just over, but these are fairly long laps here at Silverstone, as you can see by the best time, 1 minute 42, my best time that is, You know, best part of 2 minutes a lap. There's still plenty of time. As we can see, Fees JPA has now gone up into 3rd place, so he's gone past Devran as we pick up an exceeded track limits warning, and he's making his way through. V Enemy is next on, well, in his scope, I should say, as we come through Maggots and Beckett's and up the long back straight. We now have a second and a half. V Enemy is hanging on in there and still just very gradually closing that gap down. And Fees JPA is on his tail as well, so hopefully those two maybe start scrapping, and that will give me a little bit of breathing space. But we'll have to see. As we can see, the first proximity arrow comes into play. It's been a while since I've seen one of them at the bottom of my helmet. So we come on to the final lap. We have just over a second ahead. If we can hold that as we go into the well, there is no DRS, but if we can hold that going into the straights, the overtaking opportunities, then we should be okay. But we're a little bit slow through here, struggling to get the power down. As you can see, Fees has now gone past the Enemy as predicted, and he's only a second and a bit behind me, closing the gap. Excuse me, reeling me in. And that's now down to a second, and it's going to go to less than a second, I think, probably on the exit of this corner, or very, very soon, as we struggle to get the power down and go into high revs, and that has dropped to less than a second. We cut the corner just to try and gain any little bit of time that we can, but as you can see, as we check behind us, he's only a half a second behind us now. He's closing in on us. We are being hunted down. He fancies it, and we still have to go through Maggots and Beckett's and then up the long back straight. That's where we're going to have problems going into that right-hander. The 90-degree right-hander is where he's going to look to make his move, and as we come out of this section, he's on our backside and he's just flying past us. There's nothing that we can do. We took a middle line to be in a defensive position for if he did stay behind us, but he just flew around the outside and was ahead before we even got to the corner. And I have to say, I have to admit, that is quite disappointing. It was my first race that I'm uploading for, you know, a little while, and home Grand Prix, new livery, pissing wet through. I would have liked to have got the win. That would have been a great story, but not today. And just to show our appreciation, a lack of it, more to the point, we just ram into the back of Fees. I mean, to be fair, that is how I've shown my appreciation before at times in my life, but not really on the racetrack. So, second place, I suppose it's not a bad result. I'll take it. DR Devran wins driver of the day. Fair play to him. I think, I'm not quite sure where he finished, maybe 3rd, maybe he got ahead of the Enemy. And as you can see, little surprise for you there, people, on the second step, that is me. I have had the op, and I am now a trans female person of colour. So, you know, all this time that Lewis Hamilton has been banging on about making the sport more diverse, he's been at the top of the sport for 10 years. What's he done? Fuck all, apart from lecture us about it. Me, I'm not even involved in Formula 1. Straight away, bang, female, trans, person of colour, all the minority groups covered in one person. Efficient. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, people. Good to have you here. Click like, click subscribe. See you next time. Thank you very much, you absolute legends.